Hey everyone, and welcome back to the episode of the Movie Mates podcast. I'm Matthew, joined by my wonderful co-host and best friend.
Callum.
Hey man, great to see you. So on
Great
today's
to see you.
episode, we have a little bit of more of an informal and candid chat once again, where we're going to be talking about the latest Disney news that has just been released in regards to Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar as well. So it was pretty much like in one. I haven't even heard of this. Like this was just completely out of the blue for me. It was just like loads of trailers for Marvel, Disney Plus shows, loads of films announcements, and pretty big ones. Some of the biggest ones ever in terms of Marvel news. So, have you heard about this, bud, or was it just out of the blue as well for you?
Yeah, I'd known a few days in advance about the event, and I'd heard quite a few of the announcements before because Grace Randolph of Beyond the Trailer does some
Yeah,
very very good investigative
she
journaling.
does. She does.
What? Journalism. So I'd heard a lot before, but obviously the trailers were something new, something I didn't expect, something I wish I hadn't seen because they're not very good, which we'll get onto. But I feel like you're probably of the different opinion. You
No,
probably
I'm
think
I'm
they
with
look
you. I'm
fantastic.
with you. There's
Oh,
only
you're with
one.
me.
There's only one
That's
trailer.
good.
There's only one trailer I actually really maybe two trailers I liked, and then the other two or how many other ones were just like yeah okay, but
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
through the whole event, I would say big tentpole trailers slash sizzle reels. There were probably 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think so, bud. I think so. And it's weird because, like, I would say arguably the announcements are way bigger than the trailers, to be honest with you, bud, in terms of films that are coming up and who's going to be in those films. So we'll be sure to talk about that. Just before we kick off today's pod, thanks for everyone who has watched recently and subscribed. Really do appreciate that. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on this movie news down below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on them as well. And yeah, you guys know the drill. Moviematspodcast@gmail.com is our email if you want to head on over there and email us. Please be sure to do so. So the one that I thought was probably, well, it depends. Do you want to start off with the trailers first or the movie breakdown? What do you think?
I think we should go like department by department. So if you want to
Okay,
start with Marvel,
sure.
we could start there and talk series and TV series and movies.
Well, in terms of Marvel, there was a lot of trailers that I released for the Disney Plus shows, and I suppose the one that is hitting our screen soon is WandaVision. Now, I think the release date for this was January 15th or something around that, wasn't it, bud?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this trailer? Because it sort of seems like a really weird TV show. Scarlet Witch is going crazy. You know, is Vision really alive? You know, what's going on here? So it sort of seems like this is going to tie in with a lot of movies as well. So what's your opening thoughts, bud?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the show. I loved the first trailer. Hated this trailer. I thought it was really poorly edited. It didn't get across what it was about, and it didn't capture me the way the first one did. How did you feel about it?
Exactly the same, Callum, to be honest with you, man. I think the whole premise of the show is really interesting, to be honest with you. It seems like they're going for like the Scarlet Witch sort of comic Avengers Disassembled kind of thing, where she's sort of mentally unstable and creates her own visions in a sense. No pun intended there, but you know what I mean. It's sort of I think the trailer was quite poorly edited. There was no real big momentous occasions in there, particularly. I think maybe this show is going to be kind of a stepping stone to Doctor Strange 2 and maybe Spider-Man 3. So it might not hit that marks that we're hoping for. But then again, like it's clearly got a big budget behind it, but doesn't it? It's clearly well funded.
Yeah, I mean, it looks amazing, but I have no idea why they wanted to even release new footage. If they're so about keeping the plot of this TV show heavily secreted, I don't know
Yeah.
why they would release more footage a month in advance anyway if it's not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And I think the fact that this is coming out in like a month, pretty much, that's kind of weird to me because I think I think this airs are on the same week as Riverdale season 5 does. I think Riverdale season 5 is like January 20th, and this is January 15th. So
I think so. Yeah.
that'll be a good week. But yeah, like January 15th is right around the corner, pretty much. So I'm sure we'll be reviewing it on the channel as well. But I wasn't blown away overly, bud, to be honest with you.
No, but I think we can probably agree that it's not the worst trailer of the day.
What crown would you give the worst trailer of the day? Because I'm interested.
I would give it to Falcon and Winter
Ah,
Soldier.
really? Oh no.
Yeah, you know,
Go
I
for it, mate.
think
Why?
it's not funny. The suits are okay. It and the effects, Matthew,
The effects.
some of the
Yeah,
worst I've
okay.
ever seen in my life.
Two things I'll agree with you there. I think it's really not funny, and the effects are they're not great. I don't think Sebastian Stan's a really comedic actor. I don't think he blends well with Anthony Mackie. Like Anthony Mackie is, in my opinion, is a lot funnier than Sebastian Stan. Like Sebastian Stan can be really funny in interviews. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It's just the is it just me or is the Winter Soldier character like he's just been in a like a whirlwind of character developments from like assassin to from first like Steve Rogers' pal to assassin to lovable rogue to brainwashed dude. Like it's a bit much. Like I don't know where they're taking this character. It seems like he's Bucky now, but they're still referring to him as Winter Soldier. Like what's going on? It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I feel like the next logical step would have been to kill him rather
I
than give him a
agree.
TV
Yeah,
show.
literally.
It doesn't seem fitting. It seems like if because basically they've retired Captain America, and I feel like those characters are so intrinsically linked
Yeah.
that they shouldn't like go on without each other either way. Like
I
they're
agree.
brothers or a little bit more if you're actually
Yeah,
you're a
literally.
Stucky fan,
Stucky fan. Yeah.
which I always was. I mean, I got obviously sensed more chemistry between the two of them than Cap and Peggy.
Yeah. No, that's
Got
fair.
nothing from them, I'll be honest.
No, that's fair.
But
That's fair.
yeah, I feel like the characters are too close to have them separated. So if you were going to retire one, you should have retired both of them.
I agree. One thing that I find quite strange is that in the end of Avengers Endgame, we see that spoiler alert, Cap gives Falcon the shield, but we see in this trailer like Falcon just put it in the museum, which I thought was really really weird. Like I don't know if that's a replica of the shield or not, but I don't know. I thought that was a little strange. One thing I also find strange about all these Marvel Disney Plus trailers is that they're really strangely edited, aren't they? Like it's sort of like a music video vibe going on here. It's really weirdly edited. Although to be fair, this trailer does have some good scenes in there with Falcon and stuff. That being said, but I don't know, man. Like I was more hyped for this show before this trailer was released. If that makes any sense. I sort of wish I
Yeah, no,
hadn't seen this.
it's put my expectations in the bin a little bit.
Yeah, and we've seen from previous news announcements. I think they've cast the character of US Agent, haven't they? It's like the Captain America 2.0 or Evil Cap, pretty much.
Yeah, they've cast Wyatt Russell, son of Kurt Russell, and they've also cast a character called I can't remember his name. It's Flag something. I don't remember.
That'll do.
But
I have no idea. It's better than me, but yeah, this show is bringing back a lot of actors. I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Emily Van Camp is coming back as Sharon Carter, and also Daniel Bruhl as Zemo, which I was supposed to say he was in the trailer, which will be good. But I think that's really promising. To be fair, like I think Sharon. I actually think the Sharon Carter character is really underrated. I really like her. And likewise for Zemo, I think it's going to be cool to see him back. I don't know if they're bringing back Martin Freeman though as Everett Ross. Though, are they?
I haven't heard anything about that, but I do know that they're bringing back Batroc the Leaper.
Yes,
So I think they're
George St.
I think
Pierre.
they're really
Yeah.
I mean, this is basically like a Russo brothers TV show, but which really should be directed by the Russo brothers, but isn't.
Yeah,
I think that's
me.
maybe where it's missing something.
Yeah, I know, because the Russo brothers handle like Winter Soldier is one of my favorite Marvel movies. I think it's the same for you, but I really don't want them like jeopardizing all these characters. Not the Russos, whoever directs these episodes, but I don't know, man. I think this show has a lot of promise. I don't think. Well, it's hard to say if Chris Evans would be in this. Probably not, given that he's retired from the character. It's unlikely, but we'll see. We'll see. I suppose. Did you want to mention the other trailer that was released as well? There are a few others, but the next one, probably the big hitter, was the Loki trailer, which was pretty big. It was the one that had the most views the last time I checked as well, and it seemed to go down well. What was your thoughts on that one, buddy?
My thoughts are I have zero interest. I've never liked the Loki character, even after he redeemed himself allegedly. I think he killed 80 people in 2 days in the Avengers, and then he killed a huge amount of people in Asgard. And then you're just like, he's just what a scamp. It's not good enough for me. But I've never liked the character. I was so glad to see the life squeezed out of him. I cheered in the cinema. The girl next to me was nearly crying. I physically cheered. I was so happy. But then I was like, well, with Avengers Endgame, they're undoing this. Like, it was obvious. I was like, something's gonna happen to bring this dickhead back.
Yeah.
And they've done something worse by bringing back the worst version of him, like the most unlikable version of him. That's the one they've decided to bring back. Yeah. And it doesn't really make sense. It's an alternative reality where he escaped from the Avengers and stole the Tesseract. So I don't know, because I've heard that it's linked to Wandavision, it's linked to Doctor Strange 2. but I don't really know how that's feasible if he's in a different reality. I guess are the branching timelines considered a new Earth in the multiverse? Because then he might be brought through in the multiverse of
Yeah, that's true.
madness.
It's a good shout. That's a good shout. And it's weird because in this trailer, we've seen a lot. There's a lot of interesting things there. I think it borrows to the comics when he's like standing for some kind of election or something like that, which sounds fun. And also, I think there's like a scene where like Avengers Tower in New York is in ruins, so it could be an alternate reality there as well. But yeah, like I think the show has a lot of interesting promise. But likewise, I would have liked to see a new character or a fresh character get a TV show first rather than Loki. I think that character's been like it's I would liken it to sort of wringing out a towel, like a really soaking towel. Like they've wrung every last plot line out of that, and it's just sort of it's just I think there's nothing more you can do really with the character, in my opinion. I think they should have probably left him dead in Infinity War. But that being said, I think Tom Hiddleston's a very talented actor, so I'm excited to see what he does with this TV show. It kind of surprises me actually that what Marvel have done, like a lot of these TV shows are headed by the same actors who are in the movies. Like that just shows how well funded they are. Like obviously they've got a really huge budget for the average TV show. Like with Anthony Mackie, Tom Hiddleston been in these TV shows, like they're big names.
Yeah, I mean they do look fantastic, and my favorite thing about them is that they're mercifully short. So if they're shit, they're over soon.
Yeah,
They're
Inhumans
only
sort of
six
thing. Yeah.
episodes. But to be fair, The Mandalorian is only 8 episodes, and it feels like it's been going on forever. Like
Mm.
season two of The Mandalorian.
Bless you.
Season two of The Mandalorian just feels like it started 2 years ago. Thank you, Matthew.
No worries.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I know what you mean, dude. But I know what you mean. Like, I think I think like the Disney Plus shows do have promise to them, but like you said, if they are not great, at least they're mercifully short, which is always a win. There's another trailer released, I suppose. There was a Miss Marvel sizzle trailer. I don't have massive amounts to say on that just because there wasn't really any footage shown. It was just interviews with the cast and directors. But what's your thoughts on that character being brought in the MCU? Like, I think it has promise as well. It's good to see.
yeah, Matthew's been very studious and made notes. I did not. As the rebel of the podcast, I woke up
Love
at
it.
five minutes before we started recording. So yeah, I was planning on making notes.
I
And I failed
respect it. I respect
spectacularly.
it. Love it.
But with Miss Marvel, they're talking about her being like this new, young, hip, cool character, and I mean, it's not that new a character. She's been around for quite a few years. I've been familiar with her as long as I have been Captain Marvel. So I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that she as much speaks to the kids that they're sort of positioning this TV show to be for.
Mm-hmm.
It
It's a good point.
looks a bit Disney Channel, and I think that's sort of
Yeah,
the
it does
audience
actually. That's a good
that
point.
they're broadly going for. But with the hope that other people either watch it with their kids or watch it independently and still enjoy it. And I think it's an incredible series for representation, but there are some ongoing issues which I won't get into. But if you look up "Fix Miss Marvel" on the internet, have you heard about
I
this?
haven't heard of that, bud. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, there are two or three big ongoing issues with the show that people have, and they've called for recasting and such. But
Yeah.
the characters that they've like unquestionably got right, I think it's great for representation.
Yeah, 100%. No, I'm with you on everything, bud. I'm with you on everything. Like, I think because it's such a recent character in the comics as well, like it's a risk to be fair making this TV show because the character's not, doesn't have a big a fan base as like, Captain Marvel or anything like that. But it's interesting to see, and hopefully it's gonna. I probably liken it to maybe a Runaways type show where it's more of aimed at a slightly younger audience, but still has that appeal broadly as well. But I think one trailer that actually did quite impress me that I'm really looking forward to is What If, because it's kind of like it's sort of like animated fun in likelihood to how I loved Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, shows like that. And this TV, I don't know if it's a TV show or a movie. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, I think it's a 10 episode series.
That's interesting because we've seen a lot of things in this TV show, from Peggy Carter as Captain America to I think Black Panther and the Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that. So it seems really interesting. What's your thoughts, Cal?
Yeah, I think the animation style is fantastic. Uh, I think they pretty much showed every storyline that's going to be represented, at least 5 or 6 of them. The only one that didn't really immediately appeal to me, see with the seeming plot, was the Doctor Strange one, like Doctor Strange versus like a darker version of himself. That concept
Yeah.
doesn't really appeal to me. That doesn't really feel like a what if scenario. More so, I think they got the right idea with like Star-Lord being T'Challa. I think that idea is good because that's swapped one character out for another, and I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. But the only thing that concerns me with this, if like, certain shows like Falcon, Winter Soldier, Loki, and WandaVision, I think they will have binge ability to them in the similar sense to how some of the Marvel Netflix shows do. I think because this one, it'll be a different character piece each episode. It would worry me. It starts because we watch so much Disney films. It would start to feel like a package film if you watched it in a binge like scenario.
Yeah.
Or in that case, like shows like I haven't watched all of Black Mirror, but I've watched it a little bit, and I think it does well. Is it has binge ability to it, but also like you can watch it as a movie, as in an episode would be a movie because some of them are that long. But like I think the we don't know how long the episodes are for this. I don't think I don't personally know, but I'm not sure if it would have the binge ability to it. That being said, like you said, buddy, animation's incredible. I think they have the voice cast back. I'm pretty sure that is Haley Atwell as Peggy, is it? Yeah, which is good.
To my knowledge, they have everybody back except I don't know that did not sound like Samuel L. Jackson to me. Like when
No,
I
it
heard that, I
didn't.
was
It
like,
did. Yeah, no, it didn't to me
that
either.
did not sound
Yeah,
right.
I know.
My biggest hope for this series though is that Jeffrey Wright, who's voicing the Watcher, actually comes over to the films because I feel like surely if it works in reverse that they've brought voice actors and their visual style from the movies to the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
It would stand to reason that Jeffrey Wright can move from the animation to the live action.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'd love that. I thought the voice was great, and yeah, overall it really does excite me. This TV show, to be honest with you, it's a very unique, and I think this show has, because it's more comic based in the sense that it's animated, so there's less pressure there. I think this show could be really successful, but also this could be like a 4 or 5 season one if it's really well, because you could buddy, you could go down any road you want with this. You could take so many storylines from what ifs in the comics. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be as real potential, to be honest with you, dude. But I suppose, mate, was there any other trailers for Marvel films, or was that it?
Not that I saw. I'd even forgotten about What If, but I had watched it, but yeah, I'd completely forgotten I'd seen it. Yeah, I think that's everything from Marvel Television, at least sort of big stories.
Yeah.
If you wanted to move on to the films a little bit, I feel like there weren't too many big announcements. I think there were a few title reveals, a few castings. So aside from that, I don't think there was anything massive.
Yeah, well, I suppose the big one, really, the biggest announcement of the day, for me anyway, was that Fantastic Four is officially in development in the MCU. And funnily enough, it's directed by a director who I had previously criticized this Spider-Man episode for saying that he didn't have enough integrity to stick with characters he had created. It's John Watts. So, I'm going to be a hypocrite and say I'm very excited for this, because I think I do quite like the Spidey films, to be honest. But what's your thoughts, buddy? Because I know you've watched pretty much you've watched every Fantastic Four film and stuff. So what's your thoughts?
They've never been a group that excited me, but I suppose that's because of the quality of the films. I'm sure with the right quality of film, I'll begin to love them. John Watts, I wouldn't call him unique. I feel like he could have easily been subbed in and out with anyone else. Peyton Reed, who's directed the Ant-Man films, has been wanting to make a Fantastic Four film since about 2003, and I think it's kind of a dick move that they didn't give him a chance to try when they were willing to give it to John Watts. And I would say that the 2 Ant-Man movies are more consistent than the 2 Spider-Man movies. Ant-Man 1's fantastic, Ant-Man 2's fantastic, Spider-Man 1 amazing, Spider-Man 2 meh. I would say the consistency is higher on Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I feel like the introduction of characters in Ant-Man was better, because that's to establish a whole universe for a character that wasn't really that well known. So I feel like that was more impressive than what John Watts has done.
Yeah, that's fair enough, buddy. Yeah, for sure. And like it's going to be interesting to see who they cast as the Fantastic Four, to be honest. We've seen a lot of people say John Krasinski and Emily Blunt for Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman and stuff. But it remains to be seen as to who's going to be casting that film and how well it's going to do. But at least the one thing about Kevin Feige, like he's not wasting any time after the Fox acquisition from Disney. He just wants to put all these projects straight into development. So credit to him for that. A Fantastic Four film has been demanded for years, I suppose, from a good one at least. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes, and I'm excited for it. Another big
Matthew,
yeah, go for it.
just one question on Fantastic Four in regards to the cast.
Yeah.
Do you think because of how we've seen John Watts handle Spider-Man, do you think that we'll see a more young and more diverse cast?
I hope it's a more experienced cast, to be honest. One thing about the Fantastic Four, I've never really seen myself in any of them, and that's because I think they're more experienced, older heroes. So for me, I would like to see them probably just a similar age as how they've been in the old 2005, 2007 movies. So I wouldn't like to see like a Miles Teller kind of Kate Mara interpretation for me. What about yourself, bud?
Yeah, I agree with you. I want a pre-existing team. I don't want an origin story.
Yeah.
If there's an origin
same.
story, get it over in a few minutes or with a bit of exposition. I feel like you can, have a pre-established team. At least that they've been active since like the Avengers. Because I feel like if you say, oh, they've been active since 2006, then that takes away from Captain America and Iron Man being sort of the establishing heroes, and then them forming the Avengers.
100%.
So I think you need to to respect the Avengers, and their importance on the MCU. I think having them be the first team is respectful. So I would say, if you're gonna have a pre-existing team, either Trapped in Time from the '60s or something. I would love a '60s Fantastic Four film.
That's a good idea.
That would be my dream.
Love that.
But I would love to see some diversity because people had a big issue with Michael B. Jordan being cast as Johnny Storm, but he was by far the best part of that film.
Agreed. He was great for sure.
People's expectations were completely wrong, and it was just so bigoted for them to assume that he couldn't do that role well.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to see a bit more diversity, and I think that's an easy thing to do because it's it's a family. It's referred to as Marvel's first family, but only two of the members are actually related. So it's quite easy to make that team diverse.
Yeah, no, that's I think you've hit the nail on the head there, man. To be honest with you, I agree with everything you said. I suppose in terms of other movie-related news, we see Captain Marvel 2 has been confirmed with, I think we've got Monica Rambeau and Miss Marvel joining that as well, which should be interesting. Any thoughts on that? I mean, I think we both thought the Captain Marvel movie was okay, pretty good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Captain Marvel. Her appearance in Avengers Endgame has shaken me a little bit. I thought I thought sort of every bad thing that people thought was going to happen with Captain Marvel in Captain Marvel didn't happen, and then I think it happened in Avengers Endgame. They said like they were worried she was going to seem like arrogant, full of herself, because Kevin Feige had like referred to her as Marvel's strongest superhero. People thought that Brie Larson would get a big head, and I got that vibe in Avengers Endgame, but not in Captain Marvel. So if they can stay true to the vision of the character from Captain Marvel, I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
I hope they change the suit, and I think it's a bit too early to introduce Miss Marvel into the films. I think you maybe need to establish the character a bit better than one season, one short season of a TV show.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%. But
I mean,
100%.
Iron Man had like two, huge films before he interacted with any other superhero.
Yeah,
and obviously, that's because they were still establishing the universe. But they didn't introduce other characters until that film.
Yeah, it's weird because I Brie Larson as an actress and as a person, I think I can understand when people criticize that Wired autocomplete interview because you know the score. Like it's a very renowned interview of hers. I think she does get a hard time personally. I do quite like Brie Larson generally. I like she does good YouTube videos as far as I'm concerned, and like I think she's a talented actress. But I can understand why people would have issues with that specific interview. I don't think she handles that interview well personally.
Yes, a lot of the criticism that is sort of that's landed on her is it's because people are being sexist. A lot of it is people making terrible and offensive jokes about women, and they're just saying that like a woman cannot behave in that manner. So that's in no way what I'm saying. It was just in the performance of Avengers Endgame. I did not find that
Of
character
course.
likable. But of course, you don't have to find every woman likable, every person likable, every performance likable. It
Yeah.
was just I feel like it was a difference between the two performances that I would criticize.
That's completely fair, man. 100% respect that. In terms of other Marvel-related movie news specifically, I think I've only got 3 left here. So I've got 3 Marvel news points, and then the others are just Marvel TV shows. So in regards to movie news, I think the fact that Chadwick Boseman will not be recast as Black Panther, does that come as a surprise to you? Because for me, I never thought they were going to recast him anyway. I thought that was probably probably a standard decision for them to make. What about you, mate?
No, like the thought never crossed my mind.
Yeah,
We've talked a lot about Disney not taking risks, and this is one they absolutely should never take.
yeah,
Because it's so
100%.
disrespectful. And Disney is smart. They know when to make a decision and when not to, and they would have known the people would have rioted because it would have just been offensive.
Yeah,
To say anyone could replace him. But it was probably also consistent with Ryan Coogler's vision for the film for Black
100%.
Panther 2, because I'm sure he, like, the thought never crossed his mind.
Yeah,
He would have just instantly binned the script as soon as Chadwick unfortunately died.
yeah. No, it's so true, buddy. It's especially for such a well-renowned, loved character and actor. It stands to reason that was the right decision not to recast him.
How do you think they'll approach it? With the sort of passing of the torch.
I think what I'd love to see is Killmonger come back into the picture, and Killmonger realizes his wrongs and becomes obviously not Black Panther, but becomes the lead character in these films from now on. I still think you can 100% call these films Black Panther 2, Black Panther 3, but not have Black Panther in it. I think I think Black Panther is the only character really that has that ability to sort of be its own universe in the kind of sense, to where Chadwick Boseman and that film did such an incredible job in representation as well, where it's sort of a similar thing to, I'm trying to think of an example. You could have the Avengers films, but you could not have some members of the Avengers in it. Like, you can have Black Panther, but not necessarily have Black Panther. It's the Black Panther universe in Wakanda. So I'd love to see Killmonger come back. I'd love that. What about you, mate?
Yeah, I'd probably like to see. So, in your vision of it, is like the Black Panther title even, is that retired?
Yeah, I would say so. I think, like, I would just like to see Killmonger become the anti-hero or protagonist of these films from now on, for me personally.
How would you resolve the fact that he's dead?
Multiverse. that's my cop out.
Okay.
I don't know if that's such a cop out, but yeah, I'd probably bring him. Oh, unless like Wakanda stuff. I don't know. Wakanda could explain it, I'd imagine. With I'm sure you could somewhere to work around it, but no, yeah, probably that.
Yeah, I mean, like, Hawkeye got like shot in the stomach in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and it just got healed like through a machine. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's
Wakanda
really true.
has
I forgot
more
about that.
advanced
Yeah,
technology than
yeah,
that.
absolutely, for
Um,
sure. What about you, bud?
yeah, I mean, I don't know whether, because obviously Chadwick Boseman was the definitive Black Panther. Like, you can't do better than that. So I don't know why they would try, unless it was just to respect his legacy by passing on the title. And there, I think it's too early a stage to just give it to Shuri, because I don't think
Agreed.
she's has developed a character yet. So I think what I've heard previously is the role would be a dual title between Shuri and M'Baku, which I think is perfect.
That's really good. Yeah, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, M'Baku. Yeah, that's a good shout, bud. I like that. I like that, man.
Because I would say M'Baku and Andy Serkis's Claw were probably my two favorite parts of Black Panther, because they were where the comedy was, and I wasn't particularly when it comes to a Marvel film, I want to sort of shut my brain off and have a bit of a fun time,
Of
and
course, yeah.
a lot of the film was quite earnest, but I thought they brought quite a lot of levity, and I think M'Baku paired with Shuri will have a
Absolutely.
sort of nice balance.
Absolutely, yeah. Winston Duke that is Baku's.
That is
Yeah,
that is M'Baku,
he's I
yeah.
love him. Yeah, he's so funny in interviews, and yeah, that's a really good shout, buddy. I love that. Other
He seems
Marvel.
to be
Oh yeah,
the
go ahead.
only superhero actor who he seems to be the only superhero actor who actually knows anything about superhero films. Like,
Yeah, yeah, no,
like
yeah,
there's one
literally,
interview
literally.
where they have to like name obscure characters, and he's the only one
I've
that gets
seen,
any
yeah,
right.
yeah. I saw that, yeah. Like, yeah, I think like Abomination from the Incredible Hulk comes up, and one of them's like, "Is that the villain from Batman vs Superman?" And Winston Duke's like, "No, it's Abomination." Anyway, what a guy. Another, I think this is maybe the last Marvel movie, or the last two Marvel movie news points I've got is Ant-Man 3, Ant-Man Quantumania is the title.
I'm not happy, man.
I do quite like the title, although it does sound a little like school project. It kind of sounds like, it's not. I don't know. It sounds promising, but I don't know. It seems like a departure from the first two. What about you, mate? What do you think about that title?
I love the title, but really I thought we were done with the quantum realm. I thought the quantum realm was established and developed to act as a time travel mechanism for Avengers Endgame, and then I thought it was done. I don't know what else there is to explore there. Like I feel like it's over, and I feel like, as you said, once again they're like dredging the bottom of the barrel to get more content out. But I mean, Ant-Man's, as historic a character as any, he has as many storylines to cover, but
Oh yeah,
but they're just really really scraping the bottom of the barrel for the quantum realm, which I don't really
I
get.
know.
Like,
I know.
can you think of anything conceivably for them to still explore there?
Not particularly, dude. Not really. I quite like the Ant-Man character. I really like Paul Rudd in that role. I think there's so many options you could go down rather than the quantum realm, like you said. I think, introduce. I don't know. I think you could, introduce like another. If you want to do like another Yellow Jacket or something like that, maybe, or even like I'd love an Ant-Man 60s 70s film, but with Michael Douglas. I think that would be amazing. I'd love to see that.
I think that could easily be a Disney Plus show that's on the horizon. Like I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
that's too good to not to pass up.
agreed.
I think. I mean, if Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania isn't coming out till 2023 probably, I mean, it's easy for them to fast track that as sort of like,
That's true.
like
Yeah,
an
that's true.
introduction to that film. But my issue with the film, well, I'll talk about the positives. I
Go
think
for it.
Kang the Conqueror officially being introduced is really exciting. He's obviously a
Absolutely.
time traveling character, so they're probably going to have to introduce another mechanic of time travel unless they want to say that he travels through the quantum realm like they did in Avengers Endgame. But I feel like that's counterproductive because we're going to be seeing time travel by other means anyway in Loki.
Yeah, it's weird because I know you're a big fan of Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and that's the only real medium where I'm familiar with Kang the Conqueror, and I love him there as kind of, a future version where, I think in the comics he's like a future version of Iron Lad, where like, or
Mm.
something of that description. But no, I quite like the way, like he's very technologically advanced in that. So I'm not sure that's what they're going to do. I really hope they don't say like he's just a being from the quantum realm. That's what it's going to be, I think. But I don't want them to do that particularly. I'd rather it was like an alien who's using the quantum realm for science or something like that. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, there seems to be like two different versions of Kang. It's either that he's an alien, like a time traveling alien, or he's a time traveling human who's a relative of Franklin Richards. Because like this is weird, like he's obviously Franklin Richards is Reed Richards and Sue Storm's son.
Yeah.
But I've only ever heard him referred to as like a descendant of Franklin Richards. And
Yeah.
I'm like, where did the divide come where he isn't a Reed Richard descendant?
Yeah.
But sometimes like because he has sort of like a blue or a purple face, sometimes that's like a detachable mask.
Mhm.
And I'd probably prefer to see that, I guess, because then that could sort of roughly lead into Fantastic Four
Yeah. Yeah.
if
Good
you want to
point.
sort of
Actually, yeah.
explore that in the future. At least
A really
drop
good
that seed.
idea. Love that.
But
Yeah.
my one big issue with this movie is the recasting of Cassie Lang.
Yes.
Did you notice
I
this?
heard about this. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So originally in Avengers Endgame, we saw an aged up version of Cassie Lang played by Emma Furman, and I thought she was great in her brief appearance. But she has now been replaced by Catherine Newton, who admittedly looks like spot on like Cassie Lang from the comics, but she doesn't. One, she doesn't look like an aged up version of the child the actress who played Cassie in Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and well, two, uh, you know, I you know I never like a recast.
Of
I would
course.
rather
I
they
respect
retire a
that. Yeah, for
character
sure.
or have a bad actor play them throughout the entire time than recast them. I never like recasting this because I think it's disrespectful.
Yeah.
But 3, my issue is that they've recast her, but also with a terrible actress. I mean, I haven't seen Catherine Newton in a lot of things. I've seen her in Detective Pikachu, and that was enough for me.
Yeah, like I know what you mean, buddy. I actually feel really bad for the young actress who was Cassie Lang in the first 2 films. I actually thought she was really, really sweet, really good in those films. So per her, I don't know if maybe she will be in this. It's hard, probably not, but yeah, it's weird to think like this. This is sort of the film that sort of puts into perspective for me that these films take place in what is it like 2023 now? That's weird to think, isn't it? That's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a few years on now. But it depends how they want to adjust their timeline for coronavirus. You know, whether they want to say, you know, another year has passed, or whether they're just maintaining the timeline that they always had planned.
Yeah, it's sort of a weird thing because coronavirus has probably pushed all these movies back a year, so to speak. So maybe 2023 won't seem so far in the future when like this film comes out. You know what I mean? It could be like 2022 or 2021. Sorry, it could be
Yeah,
2023 when this comes out. It's hard to say, so it won't seem that far in the future. But the last bit of Marvel movie news relates to Thor 4, Love and Thunder, where, of course, Natalie Portman is back. Christian Bale has been cast as the character of Gore. And then Jamie Alexander is back as Lady Sif, which I read this morning. That sounds really exciting. Super pumped for this film. What's your thoughts, Cal?
I've never had a huge opinion either way on Jamie Alexander as Sif. I was shocked to find out she's American. That always
Yeah,
disturbs me when someone does a convincingly good English accent, because they're usually abysmal. So yeah, I'm happy to see her back somewhat. I could have taken her laughter, if I'm honest.
mm-hmm.
I love the idea of Christian Bale, even though I've never seen Christian Bale be good in anything.
Yeah.
Sorry, people who enjoy the Dark Knight trilogy. He's not part of it. Uh, I'd love for him to be good in this film because he seems like a great guy. Aside from the time he screamed at that guy on the Terminator Salvation set, you know. So I'm optimistic for this film. You know, I trust Taika Waititi. I'm really looking forward to seeing Natalie Portman back, and sort of seeing a different version of Thor, and you know, seeing them take on a more serious topic of illness. You know, because they're focusing on. I think it's the Mighty Thor comic that they're focusing on,
Yeah, I think so.
where Jane Foster had cancer, and you know, if they handle that really respectfully, and you know, with the gravity it requires, you know, I think it's going to show that like Marvel can be more mature and you know, representative.
Absolutely. Absolutely, but I love that. I love the way you put that. For me, I think this is the most hyped film out of the upcoming Marvel films that I'm looking forward to. Cannot wait for this one, honestly, dude. Because I remember when Thor Ragnarok came out that we were so hyped for that. We went to see it in opening night, and this film would trump that in my opinion. Like I'm so excited for this one. Unreal. Um, that concludes the Marvel movie news. In terms of Marvel TV shows, I'll rattle off a few TV shows that have been confirmed, and then I'll say like which one are you most hyped for or anything like that. Does that sound good?
Sure. Yeah.
So we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Secret Invasion TV show, Ironheart TV show, Armor Wars TV show featuring War Machine, and then I've also got here that Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth as the Abomination are returning for She-Hulk. What's your thoughts, bud?
So do you want to go through them one by one and just give a very quick reaction to each one?
Let's do it. So Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I don't know much about that, to be honest, but I just saw a news announcement for it. Can you explain what's about?
Yeah, it seems like you know, they're just going to do a quick fun thing, you know, and they're going to film it during the filming of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's probably going to be in the area of like 40 minutes to an hour. Should be fun. You know,
Yeah,
I have no reason to believe that it shouldn't be.
yeah,
I'm
for
hoping
sure.
they don't bring back Gamora. I've never been a fan of Gamora, and they should leave her dead.
Fair.
Sorry, not sorry. You know.
I respect that. I respect that. The Secret Invasion TV show is one that really hypes me because I think Samuel Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn are coming back, especially. So it seems like this could take place after Spider-Man 2 or Captain Marvel 2, providing that this film releases after it. So what's your thoughts on that one? Yeah, I think this could be very promising.
Yeah, I think this is the idea. I think the idea for this is for it to be like a limited, like one series show, and you know, it to lead into Captain Marvel 2. Um, I'm not excited by the fact that I've never liked Nick Fury. I think he's quite a dull character, and for him to be spearheading the Secret Invasion show feels wrong. You know, it's obviously it's not a Captain Marvel exclusively story, but it's really her characters. The Skrulls are her in the comics, her villains in the movies, her allies. So how do you feel about them sort of backtracking on their decision to make the Skrulls sort of the victims of the war? Like, because now they're saying, oh, but we're doing Secret Invasion as well. Like, I don't feel like you can have it both ways.
No, not at all. But that's one thing I really liked about Captain Marvel is the fact that it took that idea of the Skrulls being the bad guys and flipped it on us. I thought that was amazing. It's weird, buddy, because I know I've rambled out about Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes. This will be the last time I mentioned it. The Secret Invasion storyline always felt more of an Avengers storyline to me, and I love in that show, spoiler alert, where like Captain America is replaced by a Skrull and like has to fight his way out of this Skrull ship for after being in captive for weeks or months. I love that, and I always thought that was a really brilliant movie idea that they could have done with Captain America. Obviously not now, but I would love to see a Marvel hero who was previously thought to be themselves, but it's actually a Skrull. They might still do that, that remains to be seen, although it's not the big reveal that I would expect from a TV show, so I don't think they'll do that. And maybe it would slightly disappoint me if they said the big reveal was that Nick Fury and Maria Hill were the Skrulls. That wouldn't hit the levels I would sort of want. I would sort of want like a Thor, Iron Man. Well, obviously maybe not now, but that kind of level of character to be a Skrull. What's your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're gonna have like a big character. I think they'll maybe establish a character in Captain Marvel 2 at the beginning, and then by the end, one of the characters within that film is going to be a Skrull. I don't think it's going to be a pre-existing big Marvel character.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think they're too afraid of what people will think, because if they say, oh yeah, Iron Man died a hero, but the entire time he was a Skrull, it's just retroactive stupidity. Like it's not fun anymore because it's not even a live character. But if you said Thor, like what's the point? I mean, like would you care? Like as in, would you be upset if like one of your favorite characters turned out to be a Skrull? I mean, I suppose if they said it was they were Skrull the entire time, I wouldn't be upset because that's just the character that we followed. It turns out that's a good Skrull who wants to be a hero, who just looks like Thor or whatever. That would be fine. But if they said for the last 2 movies where I've actually liked Thor, he was a Skrull, that would piss me off.
Yeah, no, agreed, buddy, agreed. It would kind of annoy me if they said like one of these big characters like a Thor or like a Hawkeye or something like that was a Skrull, because it would be clear that like back in 2012 or 2011 when they were producing the Avengers, it's clear that wasn't an Envision. It's kind of a similar thing that I'd like in it when Kevin Feige confirmed that the kid in Iron Man 2 was Peter Parker. Like obviously that was just a coincidence. They just thought, oh, it's a good fan theory, we'll just accept it. Like it's a sort of similar thing. Like it's a fan theory that they'll just confirm just because it's a fan theory. Like Captain America old Captain America appearing in Civil War carrying the coffin. Like it's not something they envisioned, I think. But anyway, I'm excited for this TV show nonetheless, and how it leads into the movies for sure. Another TV show I suppose we could talk about is, well, the other two are predominantly Iron Man based or Iron Man story focused, with Ironheart and Armor Wars. Now, I suppose we could do Ironheart first because that's sort of a similar type character to Miss Marvel, as in they're new characters who are more diverse and more appealing to a wider audience. What's your thoughts, buddy?
Not excited. I'm optimistic that it can be good, but I've never been an Iron Man or Iron Man genre fan. Which, just to quickly comment on, Armor Wars sounds shite, doesn't it?
Armor Wars sounds it's very 1990s, isn't it?
Yeah, and Rhodey is sort of. I mean, I hope they give more depth to Rhodey because that's maybe my only issue with him. I think Don Cheadle's great in the films, so I think if that is able to add more depth to the character, that sounds fun.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to Ironheart, Grace Randolph, I watched a video that she made. She sort of brought up the idea that this maybe should have been one TV show, and that the Iron Man franchise like isn't big enough to support 2 different spin-off shows. And I definitely agree, because he was obviously a big part of the universe, but he only had 3 films. Like it's not a big franchise. And I feel like easily, the security breach that Rhodey's dealing with is that Riri Williams has stolen parts to build her own suit. Like that could have tied in nicely, I think.
Agreed. It's when you think about it, but the last Iron Man film was 7 years ago, hitting on 8. So I mean, that was a while ago, like a long time ago. But that being said, I think you're right. I think Grace Randolph is right as well. I don't think this franchise is big enough to support 2 TV shows to this caliber. That being said, Armor Wars, I'm the slightly more excited for because it's built upon pre-established characters. And it's going to be interesting how that'll bring back Justin Hammer. I'd love that if that was the case. And if that maybe tied into Luke Cage as well. We've seen that Hammer Tech has tied into that show before. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to sneeze here. Hold on. No, I'm not. Okay. But it's going to be interesting, buddy. It's going to be interesting. That's all of the Marvel news I think I have. Hopefully I haven't missed anything there, guys, if anyone's listened to this point.
Just a couple of very minor things if I can bring them up.
Go for it.
Well, there's one on the film side that Rachel McAdams has been confirmed to be coming back as Christine Palmer in Doctor Strange 2, which I'm hugely excited for because I'm a massive fan. I loved her in About Time and Game Night. She's a great actress, and I thought she was probably one of the better parts of Doctor Strange. It seemed like she was just completely excised, at least when Scott Derrickson was directing. And that sort of seems weird that another director came on board and then he was the one that decided to bring it back. Like usually it would be Marvel that would disagree with that choice rather than the director who sort of established the character. But I'm really excited to have her back.
Absolutely.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Sam Raimi is a talented director who knows how to do romance. Arguably. So I'm looking forward to see how the Stephen Strange and Night Nurse. I'll just go with that. I can't remember her actual name or her alter ego, but looking forward to that. And she's a delight. She's great. So looking forward to it.
And then there was just the confirmation that Tatiana Maslany is playing She-Hulk, despite her like adamantly denying the fact. I don't think there's much to go in there. You've mentioned that Mark Ruffalo and Tim Roth are coming back.
I can't wait.
I'm massively excited for that. Do you think because they sort of recast Hulk, changed his look, do you think they're going to change the look of Abomination?
Yeah, I think so. And I actually don't mind the Abomination in that film. Like, he looks very weird, but for 2008, I think the effects are very good in that film. It's one of my favorite MCU films. That's a hot take, I know. I don't mind that. I think Tim Roth's actually good in that film. I think he's okay.
Yeah, I think when he's playing Emil Blonsky, the human, he's fantastic. I think the quality of the CGI is good, but the design is awful.
The design's
sort of like
as shit. Yeah.
He's this like bone creature, and I think they'll completely redesign. Like
I hope so.
Because the MCU seems to be going for comic accuracy a bit more. So I think they're because in the comics, Abomination is more like amphibian. Like he has these sort of like
like little ears. Little Goblin ear. He kind of looks like Green Goblin from the Ultimate Universe in a weird way.
Yeah, a little bit. I think they'll completely redesign it to that, and then just say, who fucking knows, like gamma radiation. Like I think they'll be really lazy with it, but I think it's something that needs to be done.
Yeah, I love like Hulk is probably one of my favorite Marvel characters. I love the 1990s show and stuff like that, and I love the whole universe. And I think there's so many. I think you could definitely bring back Tim Blake Nelson as the leader, like definitely for sure. And like
I would absolutely love that.
Absolutely. The only thing is, I don't want the She-Hulk show to become like a show where it's about Hulk villains. Like She-Hulk has some good villains as well, like Titania and Absorbing Man. So I think you could easily do that as well. And likewise, I think the She-Hulk TV show could work as like a kind of Suits style sort of law TV show as well. I think it could definitely work like that. So
from what I've heard, it's a legal drama that may include Matt Murdock if things like if the deal goes through. Apparently it might include Matt Murdock.
Awesome.
And it's going to be her like fighting like superhero cases, so we might actually see some like actual like A-list characters from the universe. How do you think they're going to approach making her green? Do you think it's going to be CGI or makeup?
I think it's going to be I think it's probably gonna have to be CGI. Like I'd put like painting her green like Gamora. It just looked like Gamora. I think so. I think it's gonna be CG. Maybe prosthetics actually, but I'm not sure. Maybe like a muscle suit, sort of like fat Thor, but like muscles.
It depends whether they're having her as like sort of an established character, because she actually, she likes being a Hulk. She likes staying in that form and not turning back into Jennifer Walters. So I think that if you're not telling the origin, if it's just an established character, you can just have her be green from start to finish, no scenes of her just not being green. And then in that instance, I think you can use makeup. But I think if the only difference between the sort of flashbacks and the present day is that she's now wearing makeup, that's not enough.
Yeah,
I think you at least need to increase her body size, if not cut. If you don't want to change her color through CGI, I think because she's always resembled a human. So I feel like
she keeps her intelligence as well. I think, doesn't she? She keeps her intelligence in She-Hulk form as well, I think.
Yeah. Because she walks around, and as She-Hulk, that's when she's doing her lawyering.
That's quite unique, though, isn't it?
She keeps her full intelligence. Yeah, and I think that's one of my favorite parts about the character. I don't like that she's a fourth wall breaker, and I hope that doesn't come into it.
Yeah, I know. Me too. I actually am a big fan of the She-Hulk character. Like, I think the whole, as I said, a big Hulk fan. So, and if Mark Ruffalo's in this, I think it could be really promising as well. It's going to be interesting to see if they do the origin story type thing, or is she going to be a pre-established character? It's going to be interesting. Looking forward to it. I suppose, buddy, did you want to move on to more other Disney announcements like Star Wars?
Yeah. I think we can skim over a lot of it because a lot of it's uninteresting. I feel like pretty much only the big Mandalorian, the 2 Mandalorian shows that they announced, and then the film that they announced, and then the trailers they showed. I feel like those are the only ones of interest. There were a few shows announced, like Lando and I don't know, it's called like Wisdom or some shit. Like I don't know. Like I didn't care enough to remember. Because I think they're so far out and so undeveloped. Like they're not very worth discussion. But if you want to talk about the things that we got some footage for, I don't think either of us. I've watched like a few episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I did not enjoy it. Because it's set during the prequel era.
Yeah.
No, I'm not massive. I've sort of got into it a little bit recently, and with Ahsoka Tano's appearance on The Mandalorian recently, I sort of wanted to get a bit of context, watch a bit of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, sure.
It's not very good. Because it's set during the prequel, so like how good can it be? They're talking a lot about like politics and trade deals and transport blockades. Like it's not the Star Wars that I like. Because I mean, ultimately George Lucas has said that Star Wars is about these like peacemakers, bringing democracy back to the planet. Back to the galaxy. And when you phrase it like that, it sounds fucking dull, doesn't it?
It does,
I
it
don't
does.
Like space battles.
Yeah.
I don't like any of the politics, of the prequels. It's
it does. Yeah.
thoroughly uninteresting, and that seems to be what the Clone Wars is about. So I didn't even watch the trailer for the Bad Batch. I assume you didn't.
No, I didn't. The only real big announcement that really appealed to me was that the movie Rogue Squadron, I think it's called, is to be directed by Patty Jenkins, which I thought was quite unusual because, like, it seems like more common nowadays, Bud, where actors and directors and people like that who have been affiliated with DC, usually it'd be quite rare if they cross over with Marvel. I think that the first big one that I remember was like Chris Evans as the human. Oh, sorry, not Chris Evans. Ben Affleck with Daredevil, and then Batman, which was a big one as well. And there's so many other examples, but isn't there? There's loads of examples, but I think the fact that Patty Jenkins, she always struck me as like hardcore DC, like she'd only do Wonder Woman projects, but I like the fact that she's moving over to Disney and showing her value there. Like I think that could be really promising.
Yeah, she was previously lined up to direct Thor 2, and then she made some like bafflingly weird decisions, and then she got fired for creative differences. And so I can't even remember them, but they were so odd.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but sometimes I enjoy like a big swing and a miss rather than like something really boring like Thor the Dark World. I think I would have rather had something like bad and weird. Because I mean, like,
literally.
Conceptually, like Thor Ragnarok sounds like it would be bad and weird, but then it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
So I mean, maybe it could have been okay, but nothing that I've seen of Patty Jenkins I've enjoyed very very much. I did not enjoy Wonder Woman. I'm optimistic for Wonder Woman 84. Cheetah gives me some concerns, but I'm still optimistic.
Yeah.
This has gone on for a while. This episode, hasn't it? Like we were planning to keep this brief, but I mean, I feel like there's no point in even talking about it if you're just gonna like ignore big glaring things about the things you're talking about. Yeah, so the other things that were big, I would say, were the sizzle reel for Andor. Did you watch it?
Didn't see it, buddy. Didn't see it. Any good?
Well, if you don't know what it's about, it's a spin-off to Rogue One, starring
Ooh.
Diego Luna as Cassian Andor. It's a prequel to Rogue One, but it's so dumb because like it's said in like the description of the trailer, like you know, fan favorite Cassian Andor is back, and I'm like, well, who's a fan? Like what fans like Cassian Andor? You know, it's a character with no depth. Like he's exactly the same as every other
Yeah.
character in that film. You know,
Mhm.
there's nothing unique or interesting other than Diego Luna's a fantastic actor, and I guess they just saw the possibility of giving him his own project.
Yeah.
But that character is a nothing character. You know, they could have just left him dead. And you know, knowing his fate and that he's like meant to die on that beach at the end of Rogue One, you know, you know that there's no future for the character. You know, if
Mhm.
you said it 5 years before that event, you go, well, I don't care what's going to happen because he's going to die in 5 years. You know, it's
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
of
I think
course. Yeah, I get you.
you lose all the stakes by making a prequel of a prequel. Like it's
It's
bizarre.
silly. Yeah. No, I know. Like, sorry, there's someone at my door here. Do you mind if I pause this for like
No
one wee
worries. Yeah,
second? Sorry, buddy.
yeah, no worries. Yeah, so you know, well, we were just talking about Red's is it Rogue Squadron? Sorry,
Yeah.
and you know they weirdly didn't make any announcements on what the untitled Taika Waititi Star Wars film is going to be, which sort of surprised me because you know they talked almost too much about TV. You know they've sort of
Yeah.
shot themselves in the foot that now you know if they don't produce all of these TV shows they look like a failure. You know, but I mean, they
Yeah.
announced like eight or nine different shows. You know, they're not all conceivably going to make it through the entire development stage. You know, so
It's
I
risky
think
as well.
announcing all of those is risky. Yeah, you know, because I think at least a certain percentage of them are going to fail.
In the bin.
I
Yeah.
mean, they really seem like they're making headway with Andor, which you know is confusing. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You
No.
know,
No. Yeah.
they're like there's every other character in Star Wars that you would rather see, you know, new or old, other than Cassian Andor. But speaking of old characters, you know, they announced two new shows that are acting as spin-offs to The Mandalorian. One is Ahsoka, based on Ahsoka Tano, and one is the Rangers of the New Republic, you know, which is sort of about, I guess, you know, the marshals that are like you know keeping law and order you know against the remnants of the empire. I know you
Mhm.
haven't seen the Mandalorian, so a lot
I've
of
heard it's
that
very
is
good. Like I've heard
coming
it's
in
done really. It's,
coming in.
it's obviously done very well, but it's getting prequels. You know, it's obviously very successful. So.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's fantastic. I don't think either of them are prequels, just spin-offs, you know, sort of
Okay,
taking place
spin-offs. Yeah.
during like season 2, maybe season 3 of the Mandalorian.
Mhm.
uh Ahsoka Tano just appeared in episode 5 of season 2, and her episode I wasn't a huge fan of, but she visually looked amazing, and you know it introduced the idea of her going after Grand Admiral Thrawn, I believe his name is, who's made you know a few brief appearances in animation, and then he's also a big character in the sort of existing comic lore. Even though it's a lot of that's non-canon, he's a big character. So he seems to be being introduced. Have you ever seen a picture of him? He's sort of
I don't think
he has
so.
blue skin and sort of like cropped back hair and like this white getup.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It sounds familiar. Actually, yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I have, yeah.
Yeah, it seems that you know at the end of the episode that's who she's looking for. So I assume that leads into the show and he's going to be the main villain for that.
Hmm.
And the character of Ahsoka Tano, I don't know a lot about. I'm not massively interested in seeing you know a show dedicated to her. But as a villain concept, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's going to be great. But I'm a bit sick of the Empire. Like I know that's what the whole thing. I know that's what all of Star Wars is about. It's about you know the empire being established, then destroyed, then resurrected, and you know that's sort of the three sagas of the Skywalker story, you know. But I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm a bit exhausted, you know, like because
Yeah.
this is set about 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and you know the to my knowledge, you know, the Empire was completely gone because I didn't know anything about the extended universe. So, but it turns out that there's a bunch of little remnants of the Empire, villains still left alive, and you know people still pushing the agenda of the empire in that sort of 30 years between you know between the Return of the Jedi and the Force
Yeah.
Awakens.
Mhm.
I'm just not interested. Like
Yeah, like
I'm just not.
you think by this stage, you know, the creative visions in Disney and Star Wars would have thought like maybe let's start a new villain, but it's always going back to the Empire. And so I, you know, I respect that because it's such a great sort of idea and stuff. And there's a lot of, different routes we can go down. We've seen, Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Kylo Ren, that kind of vibe. But it's going to be interesting to see, buddy. Like, I do agree with you. Like, I'd like to see something fresh and stuff like that. But I suppose the core value is the Empire, versus Skywalkers and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like you said, I think it's risky announcing all these shows because, like you said, they probably will. A lot of them will be left on the cutting room floor for the most part. So I don't know, but it seems like Disney, especially the Star Wars sector, is definitely going down more the TV show route rather than movies, which I think is smart generally, given that the last few ones haven't been. Given the track record, yeah.
But I feel like they've misunderstood that, they seem to think, it's a story about, I think it's moved past the sort of bringing democracy back to the galaxy, because I think that was achieved in Return of the Jedi, at least for the most part.
Yeah.
And, I think really they should focus on the Jedi versus the Sith, or the light versus the dark, rather than objectively like the rebellion or the New Republic versus the Empire. I think that that the story was really about them both like using the opposite sides, for their agenda. The rebellion were using Luke Skywalker and his Jedi powers to defeat the Empire. The Empire were using the Sith with Darth Sidious and Darth Vader, to then destroy the rebellion. Mm-hmm. But I think with the destruction, or at least the seeming destruction of the Empire at the end of Return of the Jedi, I feel like just retire it.
Bin it off, yeah. I respect. Yeah, I know where you come from, buddy, for sure. Any other remarks?
You can just have them fighting. You can just have them fighting like Sith agents. Like it's not difficult.
I mean, there's been a lot of like characters, like Sith characters who have been well received. Like Darth Maul is definitely a fan favorite, and I think it stands to reason when he was in Solo, like everyone lost their minds. Like everyone was like, "This is great." Yeah, I know what you mean, but I know what you mean for sure. Any other remarks from you regarding Star Wars?
No, nothing that comes to mind. No
worries, buddy. Well, I suppose the other last two things we can mention is, one is that Indiana Jones 5 is surprisingly going to star Harrison Ford, although I don't know if he will be doing all the action scenes. Though it'll probably be like I'll have a short round kind of character there, or maybe like a Shia LaBeouf to bounce off him. What do you think about that?
If anyone's still listening at this point, head on over to our episode on Indiana Jones.
Episode 45.
About all four of the movies quite recently. I think we were both big fans of the franchise.
Absolutely.
Surprisingly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and I love Harrison Ford, unbelievably, and I thought it was maybe in doubt that he would be in it, because it's sort of been confirmed a few years ago, but I feel like just the longer it marches on, it's been delayed from like 2020 to 2022. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a bit in doubt that he would continue to do it, because I feel like he's probably going to sort of ease into retirement in the next few years, maybe.
Yeah, sure.
Because I mean, he seems like he's been sick of the characters he's played, from as soon as he started. Like I don't think he ever wanted to be an actor. He just wanted to be a carpenter. And then he just fell into acting. I really don't think it was his intention. I think people just put him in movies, and he was like, I'm making money, I guess.
I know. Like, I am excited for that film, because I think, like, it stands to reason that we both enjoyed elements of all the four films, like, especially the first three.
Well, I honestly prefer Kingdom. I honestly prefer Kingdom of the Crystal Skull to Temple of Doom. Like, Temple of Doom, I think is just shit.
That's fair. No, fair enough. But no, like I'm interested to see. I've seen a lot of people. Obviously, it was around about the fan casting of like Chris Pratt and stuff like that. But it's good to see Harrison Ford come back for one last time as the character, and I think there is potential for like a spin-off TV show there, or if they do that. But I suppose the last announcement, buddy, that I have written down, you might have more afterwards, is that the new Pixar project is going to be Lightyear, an origin story of Buzz Lightyear, starring not Tim Allen, mate, but Chris Evans. Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear.
We talked about beforehand. We're only really talking about projects that we're excited about.
Yeah.
And I think we needed to dabble in all of Star Wars if we were going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But there were obviously announcements on Disney Animation. More Disney Plus TV shows that we haven't gone into. Mm-hmm. But really, the last thing that I think we're at all excited for is Lightyear, and that sounds incredible.
It does. Yeah, I love Chris Evans so much. But then I think he's gonna be good.
It makes me more angry that they did Toy Story 4 and then destroyed the legacy of the franchise by doing that.
Yeah.
Because then, like, this is such a more organic way to do a follow up or a prequel. I mean, it is set before the events of Toy Story, although my one biggest query about this, which I was going to ask you, but now I have the answer to, was, is this toy Buzz in the past, or is this the human astronaut the Buzz is based on? And I have the answer for you.
What is it?
Are you aware of this?
No, go for it, bud.
Do you want to stagger a guess? It is the one that I assumed.
Well, I had saw that, like, I don't know, this is maybe like a fan reaction, but like I had saw this as like the animated version of like First Man starring Ryan Gosling, but I'm not sure if that was true. Probably not.
Yeah, no, that seems roughly what it's going to be about. Yeah, Chris Evans tweeted out that in confirmation of the fact that he is playing human Buzz Lightyear that the toy is based on,
Okay.
which makes me so much more excited.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that is such a better idea.
That's so good. Yeah, I love that. Like, I suppose that saves the backlash from people saying, "Oh, it's not, Tim Allen." Like, technically, that's not the same character. It's the character he was based off. So that's fair enough. Yeah, that's great. Love that.
And I mean, like, if you were a famous astronaut, you wouldn't be voicing your own toys. They would get a sound alike, and I think that they sound a bit similar. So
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it is sort of that adds sort of realism to it, weirdly, like for it being an animation. But I saw that announcement being made on Disney's Instagram, and the pretty much every comment was cash grab, cash grab, cash grab. But I mean, it's not a cash grab in the same way that Toy Story 4 was.
Exactly.
They're
Exactly, man.
they're once again like dredging a lack of content out of a franchise that was completely done. But with this, they're going back to the beginning, and it's not even connected to the Toy Story films. It's just like giving the story, like a character study of a man who then a toy was based on. It's not nothing that they do in this film can tarnish the legacy of the Toy Story films in the way that Toy Story 4 did.
Yeah.
So that's the cash grab in my mind.
Absolutely, bud. Absolutely, yeah. I'm super excited for this one. Like, even if it wasn't Chris Evans in it, I'm still super, super excited. And the fact that like it's an unusual one because of it's a prequel about the character it's based off. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be really exciting. I'm super pumped for it, man. Any other?
Do you think it's going to be like he's confirmed he's a human, but do you think he's still going to be like I'm going to sort of ask about like the legacy and the lore of Buzz Lightyear. So do you think he's like a human astronaut who just went up to space and came back down and it was like a normal space thing? Or do you think he is like Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger who's fighting like Zurg and shit?
Oh.
And then that character, or do you think like the lore of Buzz Lightyear of him going to space and fighting Zurg, do you think that was invented to sell toys based on like the real human astronaut?
You know what it is, buddy? I think it's going to be sort of like a Mysterio scenario where like it's going to be like the movie Bolt where like he thinks he's like a superhero dog.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a situation where like it's going to sound so weird, but like the world, the movie is going to present this as like Buzz Lightyear is a real guy. Like it's actually Buzz Lightyear. Like he was a space ranger who was fighting these characters like Zurg. But then by the end of the film, it's going to be like it was just on a movie set, and then like they just made loads of toys out of him. I think it's going to be that sort of situation where the whole movie it's like, oh shit, this is actually a real person, and then the twist is probably going to be like, oh no, it's actually like it's just an actor on a set. I think it might do that. I hope they don't, but I think that's going to might be. Be like, what about you, man?
It's gonna be weird seeing like Buzz Lightyear in like full size next to like full size.
Yeah.
Obviously, like in the Toy Story movies, like the perspective changes so that they look normal size. But then when a human enters, they're obviously toy sized.
Yeah,
so it's gonna be so weird. Like seeing like if he has like his like extended out wings or something in his like full space suit.
Just I'm gonna set my laser from stun to kill. Yeah, I know it's gonna look so weird. It's gonna look so strange, buddy. Any other remarks from you about any news stories that broke from Disney recently, buddy? Or shall we wrap up? Anything from you?
No, I taken a bunch of screenshots about the things that interested me, and I think we've covered it all really.
Awesome, bud. Well, listen, this has been a longer episode that we both envisioned, but we were on a roll there, so it's been a fun episode.
I feel a bit exhausted.
I'm tired as well. But yeah, thanks to everyone who has watched this video. If you're still listening at this point, you are the MVP. But yeah, thanks very much, Callum, today. I appreciate your time, dude. And yeah, please be sure for the viewers to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on these announcements down below. We'd love to hear them. And yeah, hope you guys are all safe and well. Hope your family and friends are all safe and well. And take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.